Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to another wonderful episode of Crash Course. We are so excited to back from you. I see that a lot of familiar names are in the chat right now. We are at the start of week 3. Are you guys excited? It's the final week. In this week, you will meet with our technical product manager and wonderful top creators who will give you the bestest tips. And at the end, make sure to publish an effect so we can count you for your participation in the Crash Course Visual Scripting challenge. So definitely let us know. Hi Florentia, nice to see you. You're the first in the chat. You're in the doctors, but you're waiting and you're trying to attend. I love your dedication. This is the Effect House spirit. I love it. I see Alhamid, I see DJ, Rylex, Blender Y Unity saying hola with the hand emoji. I see Big Editor, FF Hellboy. Sorry I don't read Japanese, but I love your yellow giraffe hands. Hi, hi. Mike Blackhat is here. Welcome back. I see Haley Capods is also here, and so many more in the chat. So thank you guys for visiting. I'm excited to start off this week with you guys. Is the sound off? Let me double check to see if the sound is working. If you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up in the chat. In the meantime, I will... There's feedback. Ooh, okay. Okay, let me work on the audio issue. Okay, it's on? Perfect, guys. Let's get started. So today's course, as we mentioned multiple times before, I know you guys are so excited for this course because it came up in every single one of our tutorials. The course name is No Correct Answer, Only Good Answers. So this was something that I first struggled with when I first started visual scripting, because I thought like, oh, is there a perfect answer? And if I don't get this perfect solution, I'm not good enough for visual scripting and my project is not going to succeed. But that is actually not true. There are multiple different ways to achieve the same effect, and it's actually kind of incredible when you meet up with like your fellow effect creators, or I go into work and I talk to all of the wonderful engineers and I'm like, wait, you have to tell me how you did this. And then they tell me a mechanism that I've never thought of, and I'm like, that is so brilliant. If you do it this way, you're going to save processing power, but the trade-off is XYZ. So today I'm here with the father of visual scripting, Runza. How are you feeling today? You guys might have seen Runza somewhere. Ooh, can somebody tell me where you've seen him before? Let us know in the chat. But he's looking real good today, Runza. So can you tell me a little bit more about yourself and what you do at TikTok? Mm-hmm.
API, or like this kind of how you can how we can make user use our engine in a deeper connection. Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit more about how you started? I mean, you are the person who is making visual scripting happen and you oversee like the whole vision, but are you a coder slash software engineer yourself, or how did you get started?
Oh, so before I was IE, like interactive engineer. So before, we don't have an open platform for creators. So a lot of effects we made and ourselves. And at that point, our engine was not mature. So a lot of things we're building our engine and our tools, but we also have a lot of business goal, like to publish a lot of effects. Yeah, I think I don't know if you guys remember the Blue Line Challenge, the scan one.
Yes.
Yeah, I made that one when I was still interactive engineer. Yeah.
So that is fantastic. For those of you who don't know, I'm trying to find a line so I can demonstrate it to you guys. But like, you guys see where there's like a line going down the screen like this, and then it just freezes your face, and then people make crazy effects with it. That cool effect was from Runza. So if you guys have seen that challenge, or seen like a lot of celebrities or dogs and cats and making horses with that challenge, it was from the brains of Runza. And I think if you go back on our lives, the day that we did the 3 hour effect marathon. A live marathon, you can see Runza demonstrating how you can create something like this. So definitely check it out. Although the mechanisms might be different because back at the time, I don't think Material Editor was released yet, or am I like remembering wrong?
Yeah, at that time it was still not.
Yeah, so Runza showed us a cool technique, but now you know that you can also achieve the same effect with Material Editor. Again,
Yeah.
no correct answers, only good ones. So, can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to do today?
So today we're gonna show like three different ways of how to make a dangling ball. I will show like one physics and two other non-physics way of
Ooh.
achieving the same
Okay,
thing. Yeah.
sounds good. Haley's saying, "Oh, that was awesome. One of the most iconic effects ever." So, good
Thank you.
job, Runza. So today we're going to be demoing you three different ways how you can achieve the dangling effect. I think this would be extremely useful because I know a lot of people use this feature to make their own kind of game. So, without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to share your screen, Runza.
Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you tell us like what is the benefit of visual scripting? I personally, for me, I think it's much easier for me to understand. So even though I don't do much line coding with visual scripting, I'm like, okay, this is how it works. And but you said there was like another added benefit about being able to like use it in multiple projects.
Yeah, so I think visual scripting is basically help you solve real-time interaction problems. So for example, if you want, I think the most important thing is the triggers, like how you trigger certain events and certain logic, and you can define when and how. So basically, you are redefining how user interacting with your effect. And besides that, because of some of the logic in multiple projects are very similar, so if you can, for example, make subgraphs or like reusable modules, it will be really helpful to recreate another project.
Yeah, we had a subgraph session with August where he came out and showed us so many awesome subgraphs that were in the project or that he created, and we were able to even use the 4.0 instantiate subgraph feature to
Yes.
put it in different projects. And I really love how you can just save the node that you've created to your visual scripting panel, and even if you open it on another project, it will be saved locally on your computer so you can reuse the
Yes.
subgraphs over and over. So
Right.
definitely a great plus. And
Yes. And I want to add one more point.
mm-hmm.
For that feature, it's more like a instance is if you have used, let's say, 10 different subgraphs, and before you need to change each one of them if you want to make a difference. But now, like if you just change one of the subgraph, all of them will be updated. And we didn't use function, but more like sub instance subgraphs is because if we're just making functions, then you cannot put multiple input and output executions. So instance subgraph is really a good solution for both function and non-function reusable modules for
Mm-hmm.
your logic. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. At the end, I also want to tell you, ask you maybe a little sneak peek of what's to come because I feel like we are planning some fun projects. So,
Yes.
but let's get into the tutorial. I know you guys are waiting for the tutorial. So, moving on.
Okay, great. So my first solution is using physics. So let's first add a sphere here. So in order to make a dangling ball, you definitely need a join. So I would just use a empty, uh, like I would just use this. So for your sphere, you will definitely need a joint. You can use point joint or hinge joint. For now, I would just use hinge joint. You see, after you add the hinge joint, and it will add the rigid body at the same time, so it would drop because we didn't connect anything. So for the thing to be connected, we also need a rigid body because, and it has to be static. Maybe let me just use another cube to visualize the hanger. Okay, let's say add a rigid body. So if it's not static, it would drop because it has gravity. But if you turn the static on, the cube will just stop there. So in order to hand this sphere onto this cube, the cube has to be, let me make it smaller. The cube has to be like really static.
For people who's experiencing this feature for the first time, can you explain what a little bit of those nodes are? Like, what does is static mean?
So static means it's not moving, meaning let's say before when I make the cube a little bit bigger. So if I don't put the static on, meaning basically this rigid body is really free, meaning it can drop. But if you turn it as static on, basically the result is like it's fixed there so that you can turn this thing into something like an anchor or anything. So after it's being static, we just set the rigid body, the cube connected to the sphere connected to the cube. So, and then we need to set the anchor a little bit lower. So if I don't do that, it's just basically hinge your sphere to this cube. But let's say if I move it down a little bit, maybe more, 10. Now it's dangling, it's hanging from a distance. And then if I move this ball at the different, and the axis is not 0, 0, should be this, because it's the axis meaning how the hinge is being constrained. So and let me see. Yeah, and we need to use the limits for the angles.
Wow,
And you
that
see,
already looks super good. I'm thinking that
yeah,
maybe it can be used as like a grandfather clock. Remember when Stranger Things was super popular and everyone was trying to create like a grandfather clock in the AR plane?
yes. So see, here's a braking force. So if we want to, like, for example, when I tap, the currently braking force is -1, meaning it will never break. So let me show. If I move this cube really hard, like no matter how I move
OMG.
this sphere just will never drop. So if I set it to 0 when I tap, meaning any force will just make it drop. So see, if I tap the screen, it will just drop. So this solution has its pros and cons. So the pros is definitely the braking force, where you can have a lot of fun interaction, like you said, the I remember there's a filter where you need to drop the center into the chimney. So where you just tap the screen and it would drop. So, but the for like the racking ball, those kind of filter, it need a very ideal way of dangling, meaning it doesn't have any friction on the joints. Currently, we didn't expose the force on the hinge joint, meaning you cannot create an ideal, let's say, physics without any friction. So in this solution, this ball will eventually stop. So there's no really perfect way of making the ball dangling perfectly all the time. So in order to achieve that, we need to introduce the second and third solution. Um, so let's put this as solution one.
If someone wants to achieve something like this, but with a 2D character, is it possible that they replace the sphere with something like a cube and put a
Yes.
2D texture as a 2D image as a
Oh yeah,
texture?
definitely. Yes. I think you can basically change it to anything. Let's try this. Yeah.
Oh, oh my gosh!
Yeah, so they're just hanging your head like that. Um, Yeah, this can be any mesh. Yes. Uh, and let's see. Cat occluder.
No, no. Oh my gosh, I want a dangling cat earring so bad. I think I'm going to
Yeah,
use the 3D pin to mesh feature to pin those near my ears so that when I walk around, I'll just have two
yeah.
dangly cats.
Right. So it'll be really fun that like when you uh like shake her head and the cat is shaking with you or something like that. It'll be super fun.
Do you think we can kind of modify something like this to create like a hair effect if those are like strands?
Um I think so. Let me think.
What I used to do when I was creating a lot of Sims games. Do you guys know the game Sims where you get to customize your characters and stuff? There, you can't have like super complicated meshes. So what I would do is just kind of build like a Lego helmet, and then
Mm,
put like hair textures on it, so it looks like it's a lot of
yeah,
strands, but it's actually just like a whole block pieces. And something I
yeah.
think someone who did this super well is our ambassador Yunjung. He has like a really shaky hair effect. Let me see if I can bring that up while Runza continues with the project.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is like the first solution. Um, yeah, and let's do another solution. First, let me create so let's call it solution one and turn it off. Okay, now let's add a different sphere. Now I want to use, let's say, totally physics way of doing it. Sorry, non-physics way. It's like a mathematics way. Um, so the actually when you create something like a wrecking ball or something, it basically need a like a super constant and perfect way of dangling. So in order to achieve that, we definitely need to introduce some simple physics, simple mathematics. And if it's really physics, doesn't really that matter. So we can just use transition uh, uh, by time, and there's a lot of interpolators in it. So you can use that to basically recreate the physics feeling. But what's really matter is the perfection of the dangling. So um,
Oh, so by kind of basically building your own physics engine, you can kind of specify the feeling of gravity and like adjust it to have your own feel.
Yes. So let's say I would need to set this position. So for now, let me just do a quick test. Um, so as you see, when it's dangling, basically the what are changing is the position X and position Y. So meaning, let's say if I'm from -10 to 10, and let's say I'm setting the X position and make it ping pong and make it loop multiple times. So in this way, it is already creating a shifting left and right. So now what we need to do is basically uh, like make it uh, like so. Let's see. This is so when the transition by time is really a good way of like trying to create this sort of physics feeling. For example, if I'm not doing dangling, I'm just doing left and right. Just by changing the interpolator from linear to ease in and out, it just make this sort of um, uh, like a sponge feeling. So like a spring
I
thing.
love that.
Um,
It actually looks so much more professional, the animation.
yeah, and this is purely just using physics. Sorry, purely using mathematics. And so in order to make it dangling, it basically needs to be a sphere. So I'm just gonna skip the math tutorial part. So basically, what you need to do is um, using the sine and cosine. So basically, so if we're dangling at the bottom, so basically it's in the 270-degree as the center. So meaning, uh, let's quickly using the peak. So this is the center degree. And then we need to, let's say we're dangling from, let's say 30 on the left and 30 on the left. So basically, let's say we're dangling from 240 all the way to 300. And then we need to make it uh,
I think the benefit of the first system is that it is very reactive and the engine itself calculates how the motion should look like. So, if you want to give the users the ability to control it, like perhaps using the screen drag and drop, you should definitely be able to do it because and they would be able to place the box that moves the sphere anywhere they want, or they can play around with it, like let it go and stuff. But for this one, I feel like because the motion is going to be kind of scripted in, it will be very hard to let the users control the movement. Am I right? Or
yes. So in order to, so basically, like when you create using the physics, you by playing with the anchor, playing with the force, you can have a lot of funny interactions. But for this, it's like I want it specific way so that I can build something on top of it very perfectly. Yeah.
guys, let's try to think of a fun effect idea for both cases. This one, because it's going to have a perfect animation. I don't know. What can we use this for? Ooh, Haley Kepaz is asking a question. Is there a way to use rigid body and body avatar? body avatar drive?
Sorry, using
Rigid body and body avatar drive?
uh let me think. I feel like currently I think we're still building the animation system working with the physics system together, but I think there is a way. And uh but I'm just not sure if the capability is fully exposed yet. If not, maybe we need to use shader and build a system and trying to use some of the. I think there might be a way of doing that, which is you replicate all these physical using a dummy thing for a physical rendering, and then like passing those values to your shaders for the for your animation. But I think currently we don't have a very easy to use interface yet. Yeah, but there's definitely a way to do that. Um,
Oh, Haley gave a really awesome idea. She said, I love to create a cattail that uses dynamic chain and is attached to the user. If we're thinking about it in this case, if you use method one, which allows you to move around with the user, they'll react to the user's movement. But if you just want to have a tail that reacts, let's say, to the different facial expressions that you make. So if you smile, the tag
mm,
wags, but if you are angry, like your tail puffs
oh
up and
yeah,
then like looks super angry, then you can definitely use this
that's
pre-animated
cool.
system that you can control the different motions. So or maybe you can use the
Yes.
combination of system 1 and 2. Like if there's no face input, use system 1, but if you don't have it, use system 2. So you can already see that even though we're trying to achieve the same dangling effect, there are pros and cons to each system.
Yes, definitely. So, so for this one, as you can see now, I'm using linear and I'm using the sine. So basically, I'm dangling from 240 to 300. Uh, so
Cream soup, taste is Coco Roco. Want me your wife, but she is. I clean your room, it's so twinkle twinkle.
so
Want
for
me
this
your
one, you
wife,
can
but
easily
she
control
is.
how small you want to dangle or
I make you feel so high.
how
I
wide
make
you
you
want to
feel
dangle.
like I don't
And
wanna
also
fight,
now it's
spice,
linear.
spice,
If I
spice,
set it to
spice.
ease
I
in
make you feel
out,
so
you see
high.
how
I make you feel
similar it
like,
is
but I don't wanna.
comparing to the real physics. So like it's not real physics because how its relative speed to the angle is not 100% correct physics, but it just gives you a very similar feeling, and it can perfectly dangle forever. So remember the racking ball? I think you can use the similar methods where you just tap and things dangle, and now you just need to put uh, the I think before we didn't even have physics. So if you don't have physics, you just need to create like a collision thing yourself. If now we can just put collider on a sphere and detect if these spheres are colliding with each other. Yeah. So this is the second way. Oh, sorry. So yeah. Can you understand that? Okay.
They want to
Um,
be part of this live stream as well.
yeah. Okay, cool. So, um, yeah, so this is the second way. So based on this step, I think a cool thing of this, uh, you know, is you can easily change it to a moving left and right, or change it to a moving top and down. So this solution is really good in a way you're thinking about in a 2D dimension. So things are built up from X and Y. So your game can basically control the X dimension, the Y dimension, and X plus one dimension separately. So your interaction, you can design your interaction in a way juggling in between each dimension. So it gives you a lot of, you can basically have a lot of creative idea just thinking about jumping from dimensions. So remember, there's one like where you use the hammer to do the nail thing. I think you can just, for example, moving it from left and right, and then if you tap, then it move down and then stop there. So this is also a good way to control that kind of interaction. Yeah, so this is the solution 2. And now let's create solution 3. So solution 3 is really something similar to solution 2. But the difference is, in order to think about in a XY, you're thinking about in a more like a polar system, which is like a rotation. So you can add a sphere here. So think about, it's still something like there's a join here, right? Like this little coordinate. So if we just pair it as a parent just by changing the rotation Z, it is already dangling. So in order to do that, we can just really simplify it in a way that we don't need to think about in the X and Y separately. We can just think about the angle. So
For that, in order to make it be controlled by another point, did you create an but empty layer and then put the sphere underneath it?
yes, so that's a trick where, think about it in a child and parent transform way. So when this thing is, when the child transform is 0, 0, 0, meaning its relative position to the parent is 0, meaning no matter how you move the parent, it's basically like you're moving the child. But when there is a certain position or rotation difference relatively, then you are actually being able to simplify a lot of the control. So basically, you're creating dangling. So you're just adding a difference between the child and the parent, and then you just set the parent rotation. It somehow looks like the child is dangling.
Guys, this is such a mega hack, especially if you are using, let's say, 3D models that you've downloaded from the internet. I've had experiences where like the middle isn't completely aligned.
Oh, yes.
So when you're
Mhm.
trying to move like an object to the front or the back, like it moves really weirdly. And I would usually go back into Blender or whatever program that we're using and have to like readjust it into the setting. Then I think some amazing human, I forgot who it was. So if it was your idea, please let me know in the comments. It might have been August, but he said like, hey, just put it under an empty mesh and you can use the empty mesh to control everything, and my mind was blown. So this is a great tip that Runza is sharing. But basically think of this child and parenting. If you want it in like normal
Yeah.
human terms, you're basically creating a folder. Like you want to move a file, but it is you want to move multiple files at once, or you want to like give it a certain location. Then you go to your finders and make a new folder, and now everything that you do to the folder will be all of the things inside the folder would be applied to. So that is how I understood the situation.
Yes. So basically, like what you just said, for example, if when you like, let's say your sphere when imported, it's not the pivot is not really on the sphere, and then if you can know like how much the position shifted, you basically just add, let's say this minus 14.5, you just add it back, and then it just basically, now if you just move this parent, it's perfectly on the center. So this is like a quick way to hack if your object's not pivoted in the right way. Yeah.
We also have a wonderful suggestion from Blender Y Unity. The effect of the hair. I just showed a quick little fun video from one of our ambassador Yunjung and the hair effect that he created. And Blender Y Unity is saying the effect of the hair is simple. It would just be replacing bones in the hair in Blender and export it in place of the dynamic component, and that's it. So I'm also thinking method 4, can we add a bone in the cube and the circle situation and control the entire thing by bone mechanic?
Yeah, like the dynamic joints.
Yes.
Okay. I think so.
You don't have to demo it, but I love that
Okay.
Blender Y Unity was able to come up with a new solution on the spot. See, guys,
Yes.
there's multiple ways to do it. I love it.
Right. Yes. So let's go back to solution 3. Let me put it here. Since we already move the parent in a child and parent situation, so we really just need to set the rotation Z. Now it's already dangling. So basically, this is the easiest way to me to recreate a sort of physics dangling without using physics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nodes to create a dangling ball.
Wow.
And the cool thing is you can really just, changing the relative position and controlling it in a child without really affecting it. Yes.
That means that if you want to add more stuff here and then apply the same effect, it would be super easy because all you have to do is just drag it under this folder, right?
Exactly. So for this one, what you can do is, let's say I want a cube, then I just pair it here.
Wow.
Move it down here. If I want a yeah, so I don't, for this one, right, for the solution one, you need to add like rigid body and connect it to the anchor. For each one you add it, right? For this solution, all you need is just drag multiple 3D objects you want and pair it under. So, oh, this is a colluder. Let's say you add another little plane. Oh, maybe even text. Let's see. Yeah, the text can also dangle.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, so the good thing about this solution is you can basically add a lot of child under it. Yes. And
Oh,
for
and
this solution
also,
is,
we have
yes,
so many fun interactions. So let's say you only wanted to show one at a time. You can click add interaction and then select something like cycle through children visibility, and only one of
yes.
those would be showing at a time. So we can definitely use this to.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's a good idea. Let's play. So, cycle children visibility on tap. Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really quick. Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
So guys, if you are trying to swing multiple ones, instead of making like 3 copies of solution 1 or solution 2, you can easily just use solution 3 and use the interaction nodes to create an effect like this. So that's a definitely big bonus.
Yes. Yeah, so basically that's the 3, I think, very useful way because each one has their pros and cons. Like the first one is you can really easily, let's go through it again. So the physics one is you can really play with the, let's say, the braking force and braking torque so that you can really you know, play with it in a way that you can have a lot of, add-on physics interaction. But the drawback is that it will always stop if you want a perfect dangling. Then so far we don't support that because we have a lot of mathematics way to do that. So for this one is the first mathematic way of doing the dangling ball, the dangling ball. So the benefits of it is because it's controlling the x and y direction, so you can easily change it to a y only or x only, like those kind of matching game, where you doing the hammer to the nail, or like trying doing the acupuncture stuff like that. And also for the solution three is that using the basically the uh, sorry, using the rotation angle, and because it's parenting in a x and parenting in a child parent situation where you can add multiple child without changing a line of code, without doing any changes to your visual scripting. So yeah, basically these three solutions, I think they all have their own use cases and can create a lot of fun games and interactions.
Thank you, Ranza, today for
Thank
showing the
you.
cool different methods. Do you think you can save this file so we can share it and people can experiment the three different
Yes.
files?
Yeah, definitely. Mhm.
Okay, sounds good. And while Runza is saving this file, I have one of our creators has submitted a mini quest to Runza so he can demonstrate and compete against him. Let me cue the video here. So on Wednesday's session, we're going to have a top creator, Jonathan. He's the creator behind many of the crazy effects. And he was even at GDC this year with Effect House to talk more about his amazing game effects that are blowing people away. But here today we're looking at his effect called Hammer. But you can see here
And this
that
is today's new game.
there's a
Oh,
hammer
the
moving
hammer
from left to right,
nail
and
thing.
then
Nail it,
he
that's what I've called
is
it.
whenever
I
a
made
user
the music.
taps on the screen, they stop, and
Give it a
you
play.
either perfectly align it to get it centered and hit the nail goes in, or
this is today's new
you
game.
unfortunately
Oh, the
miss your
hammer
mark and
nail thing.
it bends
Nail it,
the
that's what I
side.
called
So
it.
Ranza
I made
is
the
going to
music.
recreate something like this, and we'll see
Give it a
if his
play.
approach is similar or different from Jonathan's.
Okay. Do we want to start now?
Yes.
Okay. Let me just do it directly in this project.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Let's create I don't have a hammer mesh, so let me just, I'm just basically using my own method, but I'm sure there are multiple ways of doing it.
Guys, while Ranza is building this rectangular shape, I'm going to let you guys know today's mini quest. Today, Ranza showed you 3 different ways in which you can create a dangling effect. So make sure to go to our forums and use the project file, or you can recreate the dangling effect based on his demonstration today and show us a dangling motion, something dangling. It could be an apple or a monkey hanging from a tree, or it could be a seahorse upside down or a bat upside down. So create some kind of a fun dangling effect and tell us which method you chose and why. So for those of you who you guys should already know the drill, but if you go to community.effecthouse.com, or if you go to our website, you can just click on the community section up here and you should be able to join us. And if you go to Crash Course Visual Scripting, you will see for today, we have no correct answers, only good answers. So click into it and submit your screenshot or your project file if you want, and we'll review it in the next session. So definitely do that. Let's see what was enrolled for Debugging Diaries. For last course, Qingyu taught how you can navigate through visual scripting, so how to read a difficult visual scripting project, where to start, what is a trigger, and how to debug it in case of a problem. And it was a super useful tip. And Mad won. And we asked you guys, like, hey, if you ever have a problem or a project that you were stuck with, this is your time to tackle it. Go into your projects, fix something, and leave it in the comments. And Mad1 left. Now, after completing debugging diary session, I have learned to peak values. So I just see numbers. This helps me work on an old pinball project. Ooh. Thanks for the great lessons. Have a great week, everyone. And here you can see that they're using Peak. So congratulations, Mad1, for solving this quest. I think it looks super amazing. I can't wait to see what effect you publish with this. And going back to Renza.
Okay.
Wow, you just whipped up a hammer. A Minecraft hammer.
Okay. Left and right. Let me see. Set the position. And then when you tap,
I kind of really love this Minecraft aesthetic of the game.
yeah.
Guys, while Renza is working on this project, I also want to show you my version of the hammer. I didn't do any visual scripting, but while Renza is doing his demonstration, I will also show you guys my wonderful recreation, but in 2D. Ooh, let's see. Ta-da! So, I think Jonathan's effect was completely 3D, but I made a 2D version, and I haven't added any animation, but maybe I'll use transit by time, or now that I know Renza has an amazing hack where you just put everything into a empty material and move the empty mesh itself. I might use that hack. That seemed super sweet. But one thing that I wanted to show you guys was how to change the hammered nail. So if you click on it, you can see that there's different versions of the warped nail. I'm kind of proud of this because what I did is I got the photo of this straight nail and I went to 2D image editing program, Photoshop, but you could use whatever version you want. And I used the liquify tool. I also used the zigzag feature on the filter section, and I think some other distort feature to create this warped effect. And what I did here is I added it under this, I think nail feature. And I clicked on this, I think under add interaction, you can select screen touch. So cycle children visibility on cycle image textures, you can find it under the interaction panel right here. And here I clicked on the order random, but I can also make it conditional. So like, oh, if the person hits it exactly when it's in this spot, then it will not look warped and it will just move inside. But here are some fun ways. Or it could be totally random. Mess up your users. They're like, regardless of where I hit it, I always get a warpy thing. Or you can add some nails that go straight in. So, but here is a fun way that you can work with textures and change it whenever you click on the screen. I will work on the gaming mechanics, make the hammer go from left to right, and I'll be right back. And in the meantime, let's go back to Renza. How are you doing? Whoa, it's now moving in a circle. And up and down?
And when it's stopped, just
Okay, guys, while he's working, we also have a fun poll going on. I've asked you guys 40 minutes ago, is cereal soup? And we have 40 votes in exactly. And what do you guys think? Do you think yes or no? Yes is winning by 60%. I mean, technically, it has all of the components of being soup. It has liquid and something inside of it that you can like slurp up. So I guess it is. But I've never thought of it as soup. Similar question. Is Chicago deep dish pizza or tomato pie? Because it's very deep and it's built like tomato pie. So I'm just very confused. But let me know in the comments, chat as well, if you think deep dish pizza is tomato pie.
Okay, I think I pretty much just create something like this. So basically, it's moving left and right, and when you click, it just hammer down and moving, and then something like that.
Thank you, Damon, for your question. Damon Cho is asking, can I ask, do we just have to create an effect that uses visual scripting to show our participation for this course, or are there any more criteria that we have to submit? For the effects that you're publishing, it just has to use some kind of visual scripting. There are no more criteria. But when you are submitting, let me share my screen again. When you're submitting, here in the optionals tags option here, make sure to use Crash Course VS, this tag, to submit. So this is how we track that you participated in the crash course. So use this and all should be good. Also, don't forget to go and do the mini quest in the forum. Like today, it will be to put some kind of winding motion effect. So go put it on our forum so we can check that you were actively participating. Ooh. In the chat, there's a discussion about is cereal soup, and FF Hellboy is bringing up a very good point. They're saying it's not soup because you can have cereal in other ways, like a cereal bar and other things like that. Convincing point, convincing point. FF Hellboy is saying, I've never used the forum before. Oh, really? A forum is a great place to go if you have any questions, because you can see the threads that other people have created and get solutions to that. So if you go, and another one of my favorite channels is this one, Feature Request. So if you have any feature that you would like for us, maybe it's related to visual scripting, maybe it's regarding the effect creator rewards, you can go in and ask it here. And if a lot of people agree with you, I can click on this and press on the upvote, and we can see like, oh my gosh, look at how many people who agrees with the idea. And I think a couple of our features have been from the Feature Request channel, so definitely leave your comments there. FF Hellboy saying, oh, okay, forum looks nice. Blender Y Unity saying, how incredible. So I'm glad you guys are liking the forum. Runza checking in with you. How are you doing?
Yes, I think I'm just using this, doing this interaction where you just tap and then
Wow. Okay. It's not just
yeah.
going from left to right. It seems like there's a little arc to it, like up and down as well.
Yeah. Because I saw on the Jonathan's project, there's also a small rotation. So yeah, so it can so I haven't added the rotation on it so so that the hammer will, shift it in this like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely add that later. Yeah, so in order to polish that, you can do a lot of things. But like when you do the hammer thing, you can also just basically change this to ease in, I guess. It would just make it feel like it's hammered down.
Oh wow. Wait, I actually love that effect.
Yeah, so if it's linear, you will feel the moving down doesn't have this
Mm-hmm.
thrust.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just ease in, it will give you a feeling that it stopped all of a sudden. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so just use interpolator is also an easy way to replicate physics in a way. Um, yeah, basically, and then you just add a little nail there, and you can just create a collision and to detect if they collide or
Mm-hmm.
anything. Or you can detect if the position is correct, and they play a specific, hammer nail animation when
Mm.
something triggers. Yeah, so there's a lot of way to polish this effect.
Okay,
Yes.
sounds good. Thank you, Renzo, for all of the amazing
Thank you.
demonstration today. Guys, I will after this live, I'm going to link the project in in the descriptions below. So definitely go and download the project from there and visit our forums. As we announced before, our next speaker is going to be Jonathan, and he's going to come out on Wednesday and show us his method of how he created the amazing effects. So definitely tune in. I can't wait to see you guys again on Wednesday. Again, thank you, Runza, so much for being here. Any final words before we depart?
Just learn visual scripting. You will definitely love it. And oh, and also we will have component graph really soon. So just look forward to
Runza,
it.
you can't drop big secrets like that on the live. But guys, thank you so much for coming.
Right.
Use subgraph instantiation. I think it's the best thing ever. It came from a feature request actually. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you Runza for demonstrating, and have a great rest of your day. See you guys all in the
Bye.
forums. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you guys.